Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're all well. Before we get into this video, I just want to announce two things. I've been sick, and currently I still am sick, hence the lack of uploading and streaming. I don't have COVID, don't stress. I have a throat infection, which means I have flu-like symptoms, and I have an extremely sore throat. I don't know when I'll be better, so we'll just have to wait and see. The other thing I want to say is thank you for the 50 plus followers over on Twitch. I'm officially a part of the affiliate program over on Twitch now, which means I can access a lot more benefits for both streaming and my channel. It's crazy that within the month I've already hit this milestone, and I cannot be more appreciative. With that being said, please consider subscribing. If you haven't already, please go follow my Twitch over there. It is the best and easiest place to interact with me. Twitch is my main social media, basically. I hope you enjoyed this reaction video of Snoop Dogg before he was famous. And with much love, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. So before they were famous, Snoop Dogg edition. I like Snoop Dogg. I think it'd be a good watch. I think it'd be
Snoop
sick.
Dogg is one of the most recognizable faces in all of Hollywood, but it's a career that almost never happened. Now, in 1990, he was convicted of cocaine possession. Then 3 years later, he pleaded guilty
alleged
to gun
murder, I
possession.
think.
Snoop was also tried and acquitted of murder charges back in 1996. Now, this case involved the killing of an alleged gang member who was shot by someone in the vehicle Snoop was riding in. Despite a number of brushes with the law over the past couple of decades, well, Snoop
he
Dogg,
didn't
he's
shoot.
always managed to walk the line between gangster rap superstar and family-friendly entertainer. Now, his career had spanned over
I love
3
watching
decades,
Snoop
which
on
includes
Twitch.
18 studio
He's so
albums,
funny.
and he's given us classics like Beautiful,
chilling, though.
Drop It Like It's Hot, Gin and Juice, and my personal favorite, Bad Intentions. Now, he's also transitioned into becoming an unlikely Hollywood lead, appearing in films like Starsky and Hutch, The Wash, and Training Day. Now,
I've
he's
never
worked
watched
and
any of
collaborated
those.
with everyone from
Katy
Katy Perry to Suge Knight, which we're going to discuss more in this video.
Young
And
guy?
he also has the strangest BFF relationship with none other than
Betty
Martha
White.
Stewart.
Martha's
Martha
favorite
Stewart.
dish?
I would have to say
Betty White,
seafood.
fuck.
Is that true?
Could be.
What?
Now, if you're just finding out about Snoop
is an
Dogg
odd,
now following his
like,
Super
you
Bowl
wouldn't
halftime show
expect it between
performance,
the two of
or if
them.
you're a longtime fan who wants more intricate details about his come up, well,
That
then
they're like
stay
best,
tuned to
not
today's
best mates, but
updated
like
Before They Were
good
Famous video.
friends.
Snoop Dogg was born Codozer Calvin Brodus Jr. in Long Beach,
Codozer.
California on
Never knew
October
that.
20th, 1971. Now, speaking of names, he actually got his nickname Snoop Dogg pretty early on in life. Now, his mother, she gave it to him after realizing
my
that he
nickname. I
looked
got that
an
when I was,
awful
like,
lot like Snoopy
7.
from the Peanuts cartoon. Snoop was a musically inclined youngster, and he played piano and he sang at his local Baptist church from a very young age. He started rapping as early as the 6th grade. Now, Snoop, he graduated high school, but after
the
that,
youngin'.
well, trouble, it started to follow him everywhere he went. He was arrested several times for drug possession,
Yep.
and he spent some time in prison. Now, he also associated himself with the Rolling 20 Crips gang. Now, in order to find his way out of troubles, well, Snoop, he started making music. He recorded early
transition, though.
demos with his cousin Nate Dogg and friend Warren G as a hip-hop trio known as 213. Now, eventually, one of their tracks, it came to the attention of Dr. Dre, who then invited Snoop to collaborate on a song called Deep Cover for the soundtrack of a film with the exact same name.
With,
When
Death
Dre
Row,
released his
right?
hugely successful album, The Chronic, in 1992, well, Snoop, he was a key rapper who was heavily featured. It was around that time that Snoop, he signed to Death Row
Yeah,
Records,
Death Row,
the
yeah.
label founded
Tupac.
by Dre and Suge Knight. More on that in just a minute. Snoop was now primed for the release of his first solo album, the Dre-produced Doggy Style, in 1993. The album climbed its way to
Nice.
the #1 spot on Billboard's hip-hop top 200 charts,
Good
based
position,
on the strength of single
move.
sales like Who Am I, What's My Name, and of course, Gin and Juice. Next, Snoop, he acted in the Dr. Dre
Bangin'
directed
song.
short film called Murder
Gin
Was
and
the
Juice.
Case, in which Snoop is murdered and then resurrected after making a deal with the devil. Now, Snoop had always been a big fan of horror movies, and you can see that influence here. Now, this was only an 18-minute promotional film, and obviously it wasn't a masterpiece, but it's still an entertaining mixture of rap culture and horror film nonetheless. Plus, it gave Snoop some experience for his future acting ambitions. In 1996, he released The Dogfather, which also made its way to the top of the charts, despite the absence
I've never
of
seen
Dre,
any of
who had
this.
left Death Row Records by this time, over an
Oh wait, that's
increasing
an album. That's
disdain
the
for
album.
violent
That was
ways
the
in
movie.
which Suge was running the business and putting his clients in dangerous situations.
got
Now, one
nice
such
hair.
example was Snoop finding himself on trial for the murder of an alleged gang member that was shot
Yeah.
and killed by someone who was in the same vehicle as
I
Snoop.
always thought they were saying Snoop Dogg shot him, but they're saying the guy in the car shot him. So I guess.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, Snoop was eventually acquitted, but
Which
if
is
he
alleged-
had been found guilty, well, he would have been
allegedly
locked
it
away
is
for 11 years.
assisted
Now, at
murder,
this point, well, Snoop, he was
'cause he
growing
was
tired
driving.
of Suge's violent ways as well, and he no longer wanted to feature it as heavily in his music. In fact, he told VH1 in 2011, "The Dogfather was a rebirth for me. I'm not going to glorify none of this negativity that Death Row wanted me to do. I'm going to bring a
Yeah,
positive
Death Row was
side
kind of
music."
sus. Like,
As such, The Dogfather was Snoop's last
kinda
record
weird.
for Death Row. He then hooked up with Master P's No Limit Records.
Hooked up?
After this, Snoop, he became far more outspoken about his disdain for
Oh,
Suge.
yeah?
In fact, he once told BET, "I was working against the devil." Now, Suge found himself in prison soon after for a parole violation and responded to Snoop's comment by saying he used to be a superstar, now he's just a no-limit soldier. Now, this prompted a now legendary response
does that
from
mean?
Snoop, wherein he replied,
no-limit
he used
soldier?
to be a CEO, now he's just an inmate. After his release from prison in 2001,
Snoop don't give a
Suge
fuck
Knight,
who
he
you
was
are.
promising to revert to the rap game
He'll
back
talk
to the
shit
Wild Wild West,
any day.
saying that he had plenty of scores to settle. By this point, Snoop, he had released 3 albums with No Limit, concluding with the record The Last Meal. Now, Suge, he started pressing Exhibit about his relationship with Snoop, but Snoop wasn't going to have any of it. Now, he decided to put Suge on blast for all to see by releasing the diss track Pimp Slapped. And in this song, well, Snoop, he leaves nothing to the imagination, where he stated, "Suge Knight's a
I haven't
bitch,
heard it.
and that's on my life." He even extended an invitation for the two to go one-on-one, be it with fists or the knife. Now, considering that no one
I love Snoop. Believe me, I do. I love him. But, and I mean this with no offense and nothing but love, but he would get fucked up. Not only because Suge is triple or maybe even quadruple Snoop's size, but like the power that Suge would have, right? I just can't see. I can't
else
see
was
Snoop.
really
I
willing
can't.
to
I
take
can't
on
see him
Suge
beating.
Knight, well,
Can't do it.
Snoop Dogg was showing the entire world how little afraid he was of this dude. And Suge Knight's, I mean, he drives over people. You should be afraid. Now, 2002 would come to be the highlight
say
of the
Suge or
week,
Snoop?
marked by both men attending the Vibe Awards
Fuck.
and nearly
Fuck.
coming to blows. This is their big. I mean, he drives over. Little afraid he was of this dude. And Suge Knight's,
Yeah.
I mean, he drives over people. You should be afraid. Now, 2002
he-
would
he's
come
a
to be
very
the highlight
vicious
of their
person,
beef, marked
right?
by both men attending the Vibe Awards and nearly coming to blows.
Again, I love
This
Snoop.
is like hip hop history. You got to see this. Now, soon after, Shuggy would return to prison for another stint, and Snoop, well, he kept concentrating on music. In 2004, he enjoyed a renaissance of a sort after releasing his hit single, Drop It Like It's Hot, with Pharrell Williams.
Drop It Like It's Hot.
Now, that same
Good
year,
song.
he reunited
Dope
with
song.
Warren G and Nate Dogg.
Thought that was
as
Jack
2
Black
and
for a
3,
second,
and they
but
dropped
it's
their
not.
album The Hard Way. Now, he also started popping up in films like Training Day, The Wash, and Starsky
I've never
Hutch.
actually seen him in
In
movies.
2012, Snoopy decided
excited
to
to see
change
him
his
in The
name to
Mandalorian,
Snoop
though.
Lion, but I think the less we talk about that, the better. Needless to say, the change, it didn't stick. By 2013, well, Suge, he was back in Snoop's life, and Snoop, well, he was speaking more respectfully about the man to the point where he repeatedly described the relationship as cool as a motherfucker. Then a couple years later, he explained to Arian Foster how the two had eventually squashed their beef after running into one another while in Las Vegas. There
that
they had
stayed
a
what?
45-minute face-to-face where Snoop says that the sentiments expressed they were,
No, it's gone yellow.
"I loved you, dude. I could have saved you. I had nothing
I
but
love
love
you,
for
dude.
you." And Suge's
Not
side of
save.
the conversation is, "Dude, I loved you. I ain't got nothing but love for you." Now, over the past few years, Snoop has
save.
managed to keep himself in the spotlight, whether it's with new music, new TV shows, or just creating digital
not those
content like
guys.
him and Kevin Hart, poking a little fun at the Island Boys. Over on his widely popular Instagram
The world
page,
is
he
giving
posts
too many stupid people publicity and fame.
content on the daily. Keep
I'm stupid. Why aren't I famous?
keeping in contact with his legion of fans. And now that he's in his 50s, well, he's landed what he's called a dream come true, performing at the halftime show at Super Bowl 56 alongside Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J.
So
Blige.
that was so dope.
And the
that
crowd
one.
goes wild, as long as no one pulls off anything off Mary J. Blige, because no one needs Janet Jackson 2.0. Although that whole fiasco, it's the reason we have YouTube today. No one could find the clip, so they built the website. Yeah, interesting.
In February of 2022, Snoop made one of the biggest full-circle moves out of any
Why they
rapper in
switch?
history by acquiring Death Row Records from NRK Music Group, which is controlled by a private equity fund managed by Blackstone.
speaks fast, but
This
like
means
it's
that Snoop
so
is now the owner of
clear.
Death Row Records, the label
I
that
like it.
introduced him to the world. The label had gone into bankruptcy in 2006
Yep.
when its infamous former CEO,
That's
Suge
GGs.
Knight, lost control of it. In a statement,
Yep.
Snoop said, "I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value." You know, it's one thing for a rapper to buy his former childhood home or buy a fast food franchise that they used to work at as a
like
kid.
my mate
but
Bradley.
owning the label that broke you to the world, especially when it was Death Row Records, is a different type of coming full circle. So shout out to Snoop for making this happen, and it'll be very
It was
interesting
dope
to
that
see
he
what
did
the
that.
future holds for Death Row Records. Hopefully it'll be more than just a classic band tee that you see up with Led Zeppelin and Guns N'
and
Roses.
bashings and
you know the
like,
one I'm talking. Anyway,
powers,
you got it.
power pushes and
Anyways,
shit.
guys, I'm going to wrap up this video here. Be sure to let us know who to feature next.
Hey, switch
My name's
again.
Michael Crudden. I'll see you guys in another video.
I'm assuming that he just forgot, and then he just forgot. He forgot.